How's it going? Are you finished? No, okay, a couple more minutes. Okay, see if you can't try to wrap up here pretty soon. Try to finish up. We're going to, a couple of GSIs are going to come around and pick them all up. So, I look forward to reading these. This is actually one of the high points of the semester for me, is reading through these. But rather than talk about them now, let's wait until we can put some of them up on the board and we can all look at them and think about them. That will make up part of class on Thursday. Just a small note here. One of the things that I like to do in a class of this length is have a break in the middle. Normally, it would fall at about this time, okay? And it would be 5 minutes long. It's intended to give you a chance to wake up your neighbor. Use the restroom if you need to. Get up and stretch, whatever. I mean, if you badly have to check your email or something like that, you can do that. So we aren't doing it today. We've sort of just had a kind of quasi-break there. Just an effort to give everybody a chance to stay awake and alert. But that is part of how I will run this class. And it will fall, again, sometime around 10:15 each morning. Okay. So a couple more points about space and geography. I want to give you something to take home and think about. How many of you think that there are more than one kind of space? Yeah? I got like one person raising his hand. 2, 3, 4, quite a few. Okay, maybe 10 or 12. Care to elaborate on the different kinds of space? Or why it is that you think, in your understanding, there are more than one? Okay, so there can be different kinds of space in the sense that different places are sort of devoted to different things. You have living space. You can have waste space, wilderness space. I'm actually thinking, I'm looking for something a little more conceptual than that. Yeah? Okay. Okay. Okay, so there's sort of space as it's depicted on maps of political units versus space as it's actually experienced when you're on the ground. Okay, that's good.
Well, if space is like the room in which things can happen, you can have like physical space or time seen as space or probably other.
Okay, physical space, time seen as space. Care to elaborate on that?
Like, you know, if you're saying where something happens, you can say it's a geographic location. You can also say like when it happened.
Okay, so if you're thinking about an event, something that happened, you can talk about the location where it happened. You can also talk about the point in time when it happened. Well, that would be sort of differentiating space from time. I mean, physicists, of course, have got a variety of ways of thinking about space. Geographers also have a variety of ways of thinking about space. I want to talk briefly about them. I'm going to sort of provide you or organize them into 3 kinds of space right now. And this is borrowed from David Harvey, who is perhaps the world's most famous living geographer. He's British. He's taught much of his career in the United States, currently teaches at City College, City University of New York. He talks about absolute space first. And this is the idea that every place has got a location that you can describe in a single coordinate grid. Most especially, this is about the fact that no 2 things can occupy exactly the same space, right? 2 things that are different. One of the ways in which they're different is that they are necessarily in different places. Space, in this sense, is absolute in the sense that it is a single framework in which everything has its space, occupies its space, and nothing else occupies that space at the same time. If you think about Descartes and Cartesian space, or you think about latitude and longitude, these are frameworks within which space is a single underlying sort of substratum within which you can describe anything you want as to its location using the same language. A point is that as an x-coordinate, a y-coordinate, that kind of thing, in 2-dimensional space. This is the way we think about space when we want to organize property in land, for example, right? We lay out a grid. across the entire landscape, and we define coordinates. And then we can say this piece of property starts at this point and goes here and then there and then there and then there, and it's a parcel of land and it belongs to some entity. And it doesn't overlap with the parcel next to it. It's got a nice line right between the two of them. If you had to decide exactly whose land this particular whatever is sitting on, you could do it. And you could do it in theory. You could do it for anything, anywhere in that space. It's absolute in the sense that it is singular and unified, and in the sense that it partitions everything into absolute entities, non-overlapping and contiguous. Now, this is probably the kind of baseline framework within which most of us, most of the time, think about most of the spaces that we need to know about on an ongoing basis, right? We know that this class meets in this room at this time, and we come to this space, and it doesn't overlap with the classroom next door, and within this space we have this class at this time, and if you're a student in the class, you sit in this space, and I'm up here and I talk to you, and that kind of thing, okay? Now, of course, on your way to getting here, how many of you used a GPS unit to get here this morning? None of you? No, of course not. Because, in fact, to get through your day, absolute space, even if it is somehow the way you think about space, right? You didn't think coming to class today that we would share a classroom with another class, did you? No, you figured this classroom was going to have its sort of absolute limits within space. And that was a necessary precondition to having this class. Otherwise, there would be another person with another microphone making another set of words right now, and it would get all muddled and confusing. However, on the way here, you probably relied on a different kind of space, relative space, right? This is the idea that a place is next to, across from, above, below, near, far from, around, inside or outside, some other place or places. This can become totally second nature, right? If you've been here for a while on campus, you know your way around. You don't even really hardly need to think about it. If someone tells you for LeConte, you know where that is. Maybe you have to consult the map briefly, but then you're like, okay, no problem, I don't need a map. I'll just walk. And you get here by knowing that you're going to go past such and such a building. You're going to get off the BART station that happens to be near here. And you're thinking about the relative location of this classroom vis-a-vis everything else out there in the sort of neighborhood or on the route between your bedroom this morning and here now. And it's actually the relative location of this spot that matters to you relative to everything else. And this is a different way of thinking about space. And then there's this third type of space, which David Harvey calls relational space. And here, we're thinking about the ways in which places take on meaning or significance as places of some human importance or importance to some humans. This has to do with the fact that we are signifying people. Humans are signifying beings, right? We can invest meaning and significance in things, and frequently, the sort of one of the ways we anchor that significance and meaning is spatial. Different places have various symbolic meanings, and they become a part of what that place is. You can think about Berkeley. The campus of Berkeley has got a variety of symbolic meanings. You run into this whenever you go someplace else in the country and you say you go to Berkeley or you teach at Berkeley. People have all kinds of ideas about what that means. For me, I go to conferences and give talks and so forth, and everybody assumes that I must be some kind of radical hippie because I teach at Berkeley. And if I'm not a radical hippie, they go, wow, what's wrong? You're not a radical hippie. That's a relational attribute of Berkeley that floats around in minds of people, right? There are symbolic places, Gettysburg. There's Ground Zero, right? There, probably within your own life, there are places that have got more than just a sort of spatial locational significance to you, right? Whether it's your childhood bedroom or your neighborhood or someplace you went on vacation, those places are invested, at least for you and probably for some of the people you know, with importance of various kinds. And you start thinking about the ways in which certain places have got huge importance for large numbers of people, maybe a religious shrine of some kind, or a historical site where something important happened. And you think about the way that can organize people's emotions and their actions and motivate them in certain ways, and the relational significance of space becomes really clear. Now, it's important to remember that these are not somehow completely different, exclusive ways of, well, they might be exclusive ways of thinking about space, but they're never exclusive on the ground, right? You can think about any given place in all three of these ways. And in fact, all three of these ways of thinking about space are important for almost any place. It will have an absolute space or spatiality to it that you can describe in a coordinate system. It will have a relative space. You can say, oh, well, it's actually 3 blocks up from some other location or something like that. And in most cases, if you're talking about something at all, it's probably got some meaning, some significance that is relational. And what we're going to try to remember and grapple with over the course of the semester is all of these different kinds of space, again, at different scales and across time. Any questions about that? All right, from here on out, lecture today is largely housekeeping. These are the names and email addresses of our 4 fine GSIs. Please rise. Zoe Friedman Cohen is just a new student, grad student in geography. She works on natural resources and identity politics in the Middle East. Shannon Cram, next to her, is another geography graduate student. She works on nuclear waste in Washington State. You're allowed to wave if you want. David Piper works on demography, population geography, migration at a global scale. And finally, back in the corner under the screen, Jessica Lage works in Spain on development, tourism, migration, the global economic collapse, and climate change. Her newly born baby is in the stroller down here, peacefully sleeping and failing to take notes. I have put the email addresses for each of them up here. And I hope you all can see down here on the board, I have written the section numbers and the times for the sections that each GSI is responsible for. And my hope is that you have an idea of which section you are enrolled in or wish to be enrolled in, and that you can therefore look at what I've written on the board and figure out which GSI is relevant to you. And then if you need to communicate with your GSI between now and next week, you can use the email addresses up here to contact them. Can everybody read this scrawl down here? Should I go over it very quickly? If you are in section 101, 102, or 105, you are with Shannon. 103, 104, and 110, you're with Jessica. 106, 107, and 111 is David. 108, 109, and 112 is Zoe. Any questions? All right, you guys can sit down again. Thank you. The readings. books. These are the books that are or should be at the bookstore. I've gotten at least one email already from somebody with a sort of update on how things are going at the bookstore with respect to the books for this class. What's the word? What's the latest? Anybody having trouble finding these books? Everything's cool? David Delaney, Territory, Mike Davis, Planet of Slums, Alfred Crosby, Ecological Imperialism, and the Wiley National Geographic College Atlas of the World. That all clear? Okay. There are additional readings, which are marked with an asterisk in the syllabus. By the way, last night I posted these slides to the BSpace site for this class, and I had it send an email to all of you. Did everyone get that? My practice, to the extent that I can hold to this, is to post the slides for lecture by the night before the lecture. Because as I understand it, many of you prefer to take your notes on printed out versions of the slides. That will be my practice to the extent that I can actually make sure to get it done ahead of time like that. I don't promise always to do it, but I should be able to do it almost all the time. There is at the BSpace site the syllabus, which I did not print out and hand out today because I figured it would be probably half that paper would have been wasted for a variety of reasons. So you can get the syllabus. I'm going to go over it very quickly right now in case you haven't seen it and you want to know what we're doing. Everyone knows about BSpace. Everyone knows how to get to it. This is the site. The syllabus is there. This site will get a lot of use over the course of the semester for this class. If you don't know how to get there yet, you should find out. You should figure it out. We will use it to post some readings, maps, lists for map quizzes, other materials, that kind of thing. Quick question. Is there anybody who would prefer that I have a reader generated at one of the copy shops for the additional readings that aren't in the books?